What you just saw right there is undoubtedly powerful. Unfortunately, it's not necessarily uncommon. And that's why the conversation surrounding policing in America hasn't gone away. In fact, right now, the U.S. Department of Justice is investigating the Phoenix Police Department. The focus of the investigation ranges from use of force, discriminatory policing, all the way to how police treat the homeless. Now, to be clear, this is a civil investigation, meaning criminal charges will not result from it. But the DOJ is looking for patterns. It will also look into the roles of city and department leaders when it comes to oversight. And all of this could take up to a year to complete. This, by the way, is the third police department the DOJ has investigated under the Biden administration. As it all continues, we're bringing in Associate Dean and Professor at the School of Criminology at Tarleton State University, Alex Carmen. Alex, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So first off, what kind of a message do these federal investigations send to other police departments around the country?
That they're actually looking into each one of their law enforcement entities, right, to figure out if in fact there is a systematic pattern and practice related to, in this case, racial profiling, excessive use of force, or whatever other components there would be where the Constitution of the United States is not adhered to.
Now, in addition to your work there with the university, you're also the director of the Institute of Predictive Analytics in Criminal Justice, as well as a consulting firm as well. Now, I understand you also help local departments analyze their response data, as well as look for troubling trends, for example, like racial profiling. So before it gets to the federal level, how important is that kind of insight at the local level?
It is absolutely crucial, Eric. One of the things that I've done in the past 24 years is I've trained about 15,000 police officers, every chief of police in the state of Texas, and I help out agencies try to prevent from them coming into a consent decree, right? So one of the things that we look at is we look at police best practices, we review their policies, we look at use of force components, and we try to get ahead before the Justice Department comes in with a lawsuit or with a letter indicating that they're going to investigate the police department. And I'm happy to tell you that in the course of those 24 years, we have helped out countless agencies across the United States that want to do the right thing and step up and be proactive versus facing a lawsuit at the end of the day.
Yeah, certainly the importance of being proactive ahead of a federal investigation. But given your experience, how bad realistically would things have to get at the local level for the DOJ to end up getting involved?
You know, we've asked that question to DOJ in the past, and one of the things that they tell us is that it depends on the nature of the case, right? So for instance, if you have a George Floyd type of incident, that's going to spark up so much international attention that DOJ is going to look at that seriously and see if, in fact, there is a pattern and practice in that police department where this was just simply not an isolated event, but it actually was one of many that have taken place in the past. In other cases, what they do is they actually look at, you know, literally systematic patterns, right? Meaning that it actually happens over and over again over a period of time. But at the end of the day, you know, there's somewhat of a mystery as to what the exact formula is that they use. But we do know that when it is obvious, it walks like one, it is probably a duck.
Following the death of George Floyd, one of the things that came out of all of that, a lot of protesters were arguing that the entire policing system in America should be scrapped, that we basically need to start all over. In your opinion, is that kind of thing realistic, or do you think departments are not only capable but also willing to change from within?
You know, there are two different questions here. The first one is, you know, no, I don't think that, you know, we need to simply reinvent police altogether, right? Unfortunately, like every other profession out there, you do have individuals that should have never been cops. And sadly, they're the ones oftentimes portrayed in the media. I do think that there is a medium approach to this, meaning that we need to get the community involved in a positive way. Law enforcement needs to be transparent. They need to remember that they're public servants and that they actually need to adhere to the Constitution of the United States. Bottom line is that there is a cohesive effort here that cannot be just put all on law enforcement or all on the community. And we cannot take away the funding away from them either, right? They need the assistance, that community and the community support that they are in dire need of in order to make that institutional change.
Certainly a national conversation, a lot of ways of going about it. Alex Carmen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Eric.